You're listening to Inclusive AF with Jackye Clayton and Katee Van Horn.
Did you have fun? Did you have fun yesterday in the sun? That's great.
I did. It was a blast. We were watching football games for my nephew. So, I guess we should actually tell everyone who we are. Should we?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Inclusive AF podcast. I'm Jackye Clayton.
And I'm Katee Van Horn. And Jackye got her kitchen remodeled since the last time we recorded. It's amazing.
I know. It's gorgeous. I get compliments on it all the time. And my actual kitchen is so nasty. Like I don't even know if I should tell people
well, they've seen it if they watch the YouTube videos because
but if they haven't, they're like, I love your kitchen. And I'm like, you can have it. And I send the file.
Right. So just watch this video. Don't watch any other videos.
Not any other one.
Because this is her real kitchen, let's say.
Yeah. The one with the fire extinguisher, that's the fake kitchen.
That's just a Zoom background.
Who would do that? Someone would do that.
But anyhow, hello.
It is funny how I feel so much better than I have in 4 years.
Do you feel like you've slept?
Feels like there's hope again.
Yeah. Agreed.
And even after the election and all of the different stuff, as we were trying to get things together and everyone's like, y'all, we're going to have to help and we're going to have to step up, which is still true. I don't think anybody was like, Biden was like, no, I'm going to fix this ish right now.
Yeah, I love the approach that he's taking of using executive orders to where he can. I also love the fact that he's completely staying out of the rest of the business going on in the House and the Senate. That's not my lane. You guys be in your lane, I'll be in mine, which I truly appreciate. For once, hey, mind your business, do your thing, and let's get some of these things back in order. I did see yesterday at the football games that I was at for my nephews, someone did have a impeach Biden sign on their car. And I was like, I literally paused for a second, what would we impeach him
for? For what?
Can someone share with me what he's done that's impeachable? Because I have a list for other people. But
going back years. Right. That's funny.
Yeah.
You do live in Arizona, for those that don't
that's
know.
True.
So
I do live in Arizona.
Speaking of Arizona,
which by the way, let's be clear. No. In Arizona, we are purple. We actually turned the state blue. So let's not use you live in Arizona because listen, Miss Texas.
There's no hope.
You ain't much better.
Oh no, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Between the two of us. I'm sorry. What were you going to say about Arizona?
No,
and how awesome
your horn guy is mad because he didn't get a pardon from the president. And now he's saying that he's going to testify against Trump. And I was like, can we please just not give this gentleman any additional attention?
Yeah,
please.
No, I saw something that he had stopped eating entirely again because it wasn't organic enough or something. I don't even understand. And yeah, he's one of those people that I'm like, I think the 15 minutes is up, sir.
Done.
And we're done now. Thank you for stopping by, and bye-bye. So we haven't recorded in a few weeks. So I feel like we have a lot to catch up on. Obviously, I think both of us were in heads down mode because I think there's been, and I think you feel the same way, there's been a lot of clients that have wanted to talk about okay, what's next and how do we do this the right way and all of these things, because I think I was slightly worried that people would be like, oh, well, now we can just, let it go and everything's going to be fine. Biden's got this. So we don't have to think about diversity and inclusion anymore. But instead it's the opposite. And people are like, oh no, now we want to double down on this and get things going, which I'm so excited about. And it's been really nice just to hear the conversations with folks. And to your point, it's that hope is there. And I feel
I'm nervous. I think I just hope that I think people feel like they have to, because I think what they know and what we know that we're going to start seeing is that there's going to be things contingent on your diverse workforce, whether that be funding from the government or from the stock market or just people that want to partner in organizations. They know that number one, you'll be canceled if you don't. Number two, it's got to be public information. And number three, that's the way that the America's going, at least for the next 4 years. And so they're trying to get ahead of it.
Absolutely. So it's funny that you mentioned it, because I have gotten a couple calls from folks saying, hey, can you talk to our procurement department? Because we need to start thinking about, diversity of our vendors. We need to start thinking about things that honestly, everyone has kind of been like, oh yeah, we don't need to worry about that. But to your point, now these contracts and these RFPs, the requests for proposals from other organizations, they're asking the questions, which is awesome. And even, I think Biden's executive order of looking at vendors and who is the government working with to make sure that there is, diversity in vendors. I think even that is just another great way that folks are thinking about this. And it is so funny, and funny is not the right word, but it is so funny to me that so many people have said like, oh, well, now it's going to be that back to almost like an affirmative action situation. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just looking at different people that haven't been looked at before and giving opportunities where there haven't been, because it's been the old, wink, wink, shake your hand, and, oh, I've known you for years, and so I'm going to use you. I mean, we saw that a million times in the last 4 years where it was like, oh, we're going to use this vendor because it's my buddy down the road that I've known since birth in New York City. No, like, let's actually look at who's got the right stuff. And let me be clear, and I know you know this, like, it's not going to be perfect, but I like that it's at least being talked about and thought about.
Yep. I will make an ask of white women to try to make spaces for Black and brown people in the space, because that is one of the things that is the most frustrating thing when you have an organization that has a figurehead in place that don't have those results and will get the money and have the benefit that already have that wealth. It pisses me off. Can I say that? It's my show.
Yes, it is.
It's our show.
I'm like,
we can say whatever we want.
You get to decide. It's your show. 1000%. We could say whatever we want.
But I know you know what I'm talking about, though.
For sure. Absolutely. I think this is something that, you and I have talked about quite a bit. And one of the things that I think I was asked recently to help with a roundtable and ask folks to come and like talk about a product and do like, product evaluation type thing. And I said, so how much are we paying the folks that are coming in to do this? And they kind of like, were like, well, we weren't planning on doing that. And I just responded back with, okay, well, all of the people that you're going to be asking, or quite a few of them, because of the role that we're talking about, chief diversity officers, are probably going to be Black and brown. And I don't feel comfortable asking them to do this for free.
Good job,
and
Katie.
Hey, I'm doing my part where I can, but it's not enough. But I agree with you. I think all of us need to be thinking about this, and all of us need to be thinking about how do we actually do this the right way. Because it goes back to that whole pie, the pie analogy that we all hear. There is enough pie for everyone to go around. So stop hoarding the pie. Like, let's all
let loose, get your fists off the pie.
Everyone grab a fork, because you're going to slice it up. We're just going to use forks. So I think that's something that is really important to continue talking about. So I'm glad you brought it up. Very exciting news this week.
That's my drum roll.
Drum roll. So the new CEO of Walgreens was announced, Roz Brewer, and she will be, she is the only Black woman on the Fortune 500, or, the list of CEOs for the Fortune 500.
Yep.
And I'm very glad to hear she got this role. And I had actually just done some research in the last couple of days for a presentation that I was doing to some other CEOs. And I did not know this. I don't know if you knew this, but there are only 3 Black people on the list of Fortune 500 CEOs. Roz will be the 4th. And all of the other 3 are men. So this is the first Black woman, or she is the Black woman on the list, the only.
Yep.
So if you think about the 1,000 companies that are on the Fortune 500, you have 3, now 4 Black people.
And I'm looking them up because I don't know of all of them. And because I wanted to see some of the history behind it, and some of those companies, because I think there's always, I'm not surprised. I was surprised that she made the list. I didn't know that I never heard of her. I mean, it's my own ignorance. But it's actually number 19 on the Fortune 500 list. And if you look at the other like top companies, a lot of them are banks and gas and oil.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost makes sense. If you look at the history of some of those companies, that's kind of.
Yeah. So it is interesting. And I'm actually going to share some other facts, some facts that you need to know.
Slap down the facts.
Are you ready?
Ready.
So female CEOs in the Fortune 500 is 6.5%, only 6.5. And that goes up and down, like 7%, then it goes, down to, 6.3, but it's at 6.5 ish, actually, with Roz being added. Obviously that'll take it up, but I already mentioned the Black CEOs in the Fortune 500 is 3. Latinx. So, in the Latino Chicano community, there's 3.5%.
Wow.
So those are so disheartening, and also just like, I was a little bit surprised because you do have international companies. So, in the Latinx, that would include Fortune 500 companies in Europe, et cetera. And so it is really interesting. And I don't think I didn't calculate the number for like Asia Pacific Islander. I didn't even look at that number, which I should have. But it's very, very interesting to me that there are so few of the Fortune 500. It's just so heavily dominated still by white men. But I also, not to go off on a tangent about this, but the McKinsey Women in the Workplace study, I think most folks take a look at that, or at least look at some of the data. The other one that kind of is disturbing / frightening is that I think it's 1 in 4 women are thinking about like downshifting or leaving their careers altogether because of COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And we can come back to that, but that's just another one I would like to chat about at some point. But back to Roz. Her career and her, like what she has done, like, so she was just most recently at Starbucks, and everyone is kind of shocked that she took this role because of the fact that she was kind of like she was the COO of Starbucks, and yes, everyone I think thought she was kind of the heir apparent for the CEO role, but yes, good on ya. Like go back to Starbucks in a few years,
It's funny, not funny, but with everything going on with COVID, and I think it does become relevant. She picked a time to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's so important that, again, it goes back to just that representation that we've talked about a few times, that, I think we saw it and cried about it a few weeks ago during the inauguration, where to see a woman of Asian descent, a woman of Black descent, get sworn in as the VP of the United States, like, holy crap, like what that actually says and does for little girls, for us. I mean, for myself, I was like, wow, like this can happen. I don't know how, like if you felt the same way, but it was one of those, like, Hannah can be the president, and I want her to be.
And they won't even think anything of it.
Right. Hannah's your daughter.
It's like, of course, Hannah's my daughter.
Just in case this is your first episode you're listening to. Hannah is Jackie's absolutely brilliant daughter, and she could be the president.
She's so smart. Listen, I was over-listening. I was listening to a conversation she was having because she's in college, and because of COVID, she's at home. And she was talking, and she said, things were, I had a 4.0, and then I was so mad because it went to like a 3.8, and then statistical, whatever, blah, 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 algebra happened. And I'm like, what is that? What is that?
What do those words mean?
I don't even know what you're talking about, but thanks. Like, oh yeah, that sucks. Like I couldn't, she's brilliant.
That's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's what we are seeing, the historical moment that we're seeing, but also just I think what we will see kind of because of it, and hopefully still in our lifetime, that, we'll see more women, take on leadership roles at the highest levels of government and companies and all of these other things. And so, I mean, I think it's just congratulations, first of all, to Miss Brewer and her new role, and to Miss Kamala Harris. Like, hey,
oh my gosh.
representation
matters. I think this is the thing that is hard for people to understand. Like, you can't imagine it if you don't see it. I mean, it's like a dream. It's not a reality. Even if you put a timeline, you're still dealing with outside factors, not really sure if you can reach those goals. And it's sad when it's not even your work or your worth or the things that you're doing can be impacted by outside influences that have nothing to do with your actual work. And as you get older, you start to realize that. And that's why it's so important. It made me think of this. It's so important to have people at that executive level, decision maker, when you're doing diversity and inclusion, because and I've talked about it before, about when I joined an organization and I was the second female at the organization. And on my first day, they were like, oh, we can't talk the way we used to because there's a woman on the meeting. Just being there changed the attitude and the company culture for good or bad, whatever. Right. So then you think about an organization where that's still the mind frame, where it's like, oh, I guess we have to step up without even saying a word or doing anything. Okay, there's a Black woman here. So it's funny how organizations as a whole will start looking at opportunities to be better, or maybe be more aware of their own bias without having an official training class. People know their own bias, because as much as we like to say things are unconscious, a lot of it's conscious.
Agreed. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny because I just had this conversation just this week, sorry. So yeah, I just had this conversation this past week in a training around the whole, a couple folks were asking me like, oh, how do we know, or how do we act, the right way, or how do we behave or know our bias and all of these things. And it was one of those, and I've used this example. I don't know if you've used this example, like it's would you say that if your grandmother was in the room, or would you say that if your mother was in the room? And the one I use and have been using is, would you say that if there was a Black person in the room, or a gay person, or a whatever, whatever the thing is. And, it's this whole, you have to step up and you have to be better. And we have to make sure that we're really asking folks to step up, and not because they're horrible people, but just, it's also the awareness. It is a lot of awareness and that, to your point, very conscious bias that they have.
Yeah. I think what's funny is I read other articles about Roz, and it was like, oh, Roz is also a proponent for diversity and inclusion, which is so hilarious. Like, yeah.
Duh.
Yeah. I don't want to be discriminated against. Right. I don't know. Is there someone like Black in leadership that's like, no, it's okay, I'm not worried about it?
Not that I know of, but I will say this. I think that we have also lived in this space, and I'm going to use white women as the example, where white women have definitely done I'm here, and and then feel like this competition to other white women, and also women of color for that matter. Right. And so I think there has been this, again, back to the pie, it doesn't have to be that there's one token woman on the leadership team or on whatever. We all can be there. And it shouldn't be one, it should be a 50-50 split, similar to the world.
The whole world.
The whole world. Let's focus on that. But
then you have this whole thing where you're right. Like, people are having to step down to take care of their children. or take care of their families in some way. I mean, going back to the COVID conversation, it's very tough because school and what are you doing with your children while they're at home and having to figure that out. I don't know how everybody makes the decisions. Um, in our house, it usually ends up being a financial decision or the time constraints, or is this in the path of where I'm supposed to be going for the rest of my life decision is how we would make that decision, you know? And unfortunately, it's because we don't have that 50-50 split that a lot of women are like, well, you make more money than I do, or you have a better title than I do, so I'll be the one who takes a step back.
Right. And it's also the traditional gender roles where for so many women, they are the caretaker at home. They have the two jobs of going to work during the day and then coming home and being the caretaker at home. But I also think there's this, the thing I think about constantly is just like single women that are trying to pull everything off. And that, they're trying to be mom and then add in this layer of COVID. Obviously your children are a little bit older, so it's not I have to be with them 24 hours a day to make sure they're okay. For people that are in roles that, okay, you have to leave the house, whether, you're a first responder or whatever it might be, or a frontline worker that is essential. There is that piece of like, okay, so yeah, what do you do? How do you handle that situation? And we talk about how we are trying to, I'm going to try and articulate this the correct way. We're telling people to like be self-reliant, and we are trying to tell people that like, oh, you need to take care of yourself and make sure that you're not going on the dole and all of these things. But then again, it's like one more barrier of, we know that Black and brown people are being more impacted by COVID than white people. We know that you have a situation where people are having to make that decision of, do I continue working or do I go on unemployment or whatever it might be just to keep food on the table? Why are we here in a place in 2021 that someone has to make a decision of, do I go back to work or do I stay home and figure out whatever I need to figure out to actually get food on the table, get, the bills paid, all of those things. That's why I get so like perplexed by people that are against some sort of help.
Assistance.
Yeah. I had this thread that someone was posting on Facebook about, all those business owners that are just, they're not working and they're just taking the check. And I was like, okay, first of all, that's not what's happening. And also for people that are entrepreneurs, your personality is such that you are usually a type A go-getter, all of these things. There's not one business owner that I know that's like, yeah, cool, I'm so excited to close my business,
right,
and just sit on my butt on the couch. No one wants that. And so like, it was one of those questions that, and I do not engage on Facebook at all with anyone. So like, I did not engage on this, but it like kind of gave me pause to think like, yeah, why would anyone want that? No one wants that, to like be helpless and have to not have opportunities. So anyways.
No, I think it's just pure ignorance. What is making me upset is that I'm seeing in Dallas, there was a situation where all of the places where they were giving the vaccine was in populations, like poor populations. They were having them there, which was really important because of things like, transportation and access and understanding and knowledge. And the state said, if you keep doing it in these areas, we're going to cut half of your funding and not give you as many vaccines, because they felt like it was getting to just Black people. And it was racist, even though the population is heavily hit, and they were threatened. And it was soon after when they were saying, no, you have to put it in these particular areas because these are the ones that are getting the most hit. And they are finding people that are, I think one of them put people on like a lottery, if they paid a certain amount that they could give vaccines. Another one was giving it to people who were volunteering their time. Like, who has the ability to volunteer their time all day so that they could get a vaccine? You would have to be in some spot of privilege to be able to get that vaccine. Like, all of these things that are just gross. That I was looking at it from my little town in Waco, and the area that is the hardest hit is in East Waco. And I happen to know the person who leads that district. And I was like, do you need assistance? Because they're getting people to sign up online. Well, if you don't know how to sign up online, or you don't know that's the process, then you won't sign up for the vaccine. And she was like, we need to find out where all the vaccine is too. Like, every hospital group, like, what are they doing with it and how are they dispersing it? I mean, it is a shit show. I know we don't cuss on the show, but there's no other way to describe it.
Well, yes. And I also think, to your point on the online thing, I'll just speak for my mother. You know, she's 82 years old. She finally figured out how to get an appointment. Now, I'm going to caveat that with, we've all given her the opportunity to say, do you want us to help you? But for folks that don't have 95 kids, what do they do? How do they know to go online and try and figure that out, or who to call? Because I also know, like, calling the line to like set the appointment, you're waiting for an hour or more. And so, yeah, I mean, I think just the process itself has been so messy. And I don't know if you saw.
I wouldn't even remember. That's the thing that makes me upset. Like, she has Parkinson's enough, so it's hard enough to even dial the phone. So then when she dialed the phone, she might not even remember why she got on the phone. If she has to be on hold or it
for
keeps
an
ringing,
hour.
right?
Yeah.
She might not even know to do it.
The other one that I saw it was somewhere in, I think it was like Chicago, one of the suburbs of Chicago. And they had somehow done similar to what you mentioned, on like, they basically like pooled all their resources, meaning pulled together money to somehow buy some of the vaccines for their little community. And you're like, how yucky is that? Like,
that
it's
is
just
so pervy.
Yeah, like, it's gross. But I also think, like, for me, it goes back to, like, we need to get the teachers vaccine immediately. Like, we've got to get kids back in school. Like, and again, that's another one where people are like, oh, you know, the states are trying not to have kids in school. And I'm like, who is doing that? No one is
doing that.
And no teachers are like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Do you think this is fun for the teachers to be teaching online? It's miserable. And so it's like, but I also want them to be safe. Like, I mean, you know, I have educators in my family, some of my siblings, and I don't want my sisters going into classrooms if they don't feel comfortable that they can stay safe and can stay healthy. Like, no, I mean, they're already dealing with, as you know, kids are kind of gross. And so, like, there's all kinds of germs constantly. Why would we add one more layer to it of, oh, hey, also you might die?
Yeah.
No.
That. And I can tell you, of all the educators that I know, when we were talking about like women opting to stay at home, none of my friends that are teachers have even thought for one half of one day that they weren't going in. Like, they are like, I can't not go in. There are people that want to not go in different communities. And it depends. I live in a smaller town, but they're like, I have to go and educate these children. That's why it's so difficult, and why people are struggling and they don't feel safe, because they aren't doing enough to support these teachers, and they have to be there. This is not a substitute teacher situation. And I found out, because our schools, you can choose to go to school or stay at home. My son, we chose for him to be at home, and who knows? I mean, there's going to be some study at some point to see how that affects these kids. But so many are, you know, they're like, we have to get the vaccine, but they can't even, they have to get off work, and they shut down the school. It seems like every other week. And they shut down the school based on the amount of people who have the virus that are in the education versus how many substitutes they have. I didn't realize that.
Right.
Like, we won't have anybody to teach these classes at all.
Yes. And that's, so I was just talking to my sister last night, and she is a teacher, and all of her peers got shots the same week. So got the first round of the vaccine. And for those of you who aren't aware, from what I have heard from everyone, is that the first round is seemingly okay, or people are okay.
Right.
Excuse me. When they get the second round, though, that's when people are getting sick or like not feeling great or whatever. And she mentioned like
to death.
Well, she said like that their HR person is anxious because the fact that it's like, oh crap, what's going to happen when all these people get that second round if everyone gets sick? Like, what are we going to do? Because there's not enough subs.
No. And I don't know. It's just, so good luck, Roz. Welcome to it. But that's what they were saying. It's like the biggest time ever.
And it is Walgreens too. So that's also like, hey, so Roz, your first order of business is figure out what to do so we can all get the vaccine.
Oh, your timing's so good. Come here. Let me show
if
you
could go and knock that out. That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Here's the bathroom and here's the stack of well wishes.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I don't know. I think what was interesting is for when they were like, this is like, we all have to deal with this as much as we don't want to. Like it affects all of our businesses and what we are doing. And I thought it was interesting when they were like, it's a lot worse than we thought when it came to like actual policies and actual things that are going on. And people are being very transparent. And it's like, oh, I can understand why people didn't want to be transparent. This is really scary stuff.
Yeah.
This is really, really scary stuff.
Absolutely. And so it's funny. I just, one of my partners, she and I were talking this past week and she said, oh, this new client wants to do some stuff in person and in the summer. And so I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, sure. I would like to have the vaccine before I go into an in-person setting with, 50 plus people. Because, even if nobody else is, at least I know, hey, I'm protected. And I'm kind of that way, like with the flu shot and things like that too. But it is that whole like, wow, like even to think about doing something in person and not knowing when we are going to be in a place that we'll be able to get vaccines for just like the normal everyday Katie Van Horn. Like, I don't know when I'm going to be eligible. I don't know what round I'm in. I need to know.
The KVHs?
Where's the KVH rounds?
Well, somebody said, oh, we're going to move the event to October because hopefully after the summer we'll be in a better place. And everybody was like, oh yeah. And I was like, is anybody going to talk about how that's in a really long time? Like, oh yeah, October. Wait.
Well, and I read something, I don't know if you saw this. Did you see the whole thing where like the amount of vaccines that were like ordered for the United States was like not 5. Even like, it was like 5. Yeah, exactly. We just need 5. We're good. Everything's fine. But I it's again that like, yeah, how quickly can we actually get out of this? No, we're having like these jokes of like, hey, have the Amazon drivers take care of it. You know, but I also am like, yeah, where are the technology companies like, hey, we can do this, and this lickety split. Like, let's get it done.
They should do it at the freaking Dollar General because every single town has a Dollar General or a Family Dollar.
Yes, I agree. That would be a great place to do it.
It sounds stupid, but legit.
No, like,
they're in more places than, or Walmart, right?
Walmart. Yeah, but it's also like the supply chain management. That's what I'm also talking about, like a Walmart or an Amazon. They can figure out how to get them to every single city, small city, big city, and make it happen and go,
look, I could get my Lancome. I got my mascara Lancome in 2 days. Yeah. One little container. Sorry about the environment, everyone. I really just needed it. I really did. I can't go to Dillard's. I don't have a lot of places to go.
I understand. You're in Waco, Texas.
Sorry. For everybody who listens. There's no Lancome counter, okay? People, before don't
Waco,
judge.
Texas. Yeah.
Don't judge me. But then I think about other places that are remote. Like there's people, I think you live in a place where like out there is way out there in Arizona. If people have not been there, like there are places that are very remote. And then Texas, of course, there are places that they come to. Waco is coming to town. And we, and you have to figure out those places. And unfortunately, every place that they're sending it to, and which makes sense from offset, like the health director or whatever those organizations are, because those are in the major cities. But then you have an unbalance of who is getting the dose and how people are getting sick or not getting sick. And then I'm starting to see more on Facebook, like people having parties and stuff. I hugged someone last week and I almost had a panic attack. Like I forgot. I hadn't seen somebody in a really long time. And I was like, oh, and I was like, I thought I was going to die. And then you go on Facebook and you see people having birthday parties, a girls trip, or, oh, we came to Mexico to like, what are people doing? What's that, Katie?
I don't know. I will say, I think that it's this disbelief. Unless you have been impacted, you just don't think it's real. And I think there's so many and I think part of it is just we've been fed so much false information that people are like, yeah, no big deal. It's not a problem. No issue. And you're like, huh?
I wish my brain worked like that, because when I don't have the information, I'm going for the worst case scenario.
Agreed. So am I. And I think it's also one of those things that, yeah, it's worst case scenario, but it's also like always, and maybe this is the HR person in us, always side on the, like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen. Correct. And playing it out. Like, I think all of us, I don't think about what's happening now. I think 3 steps down the road, what could happen? What are the things that I need to tell that leader? Right. Like, don't do this thing, because in 4 years, it's going to come back and get you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It won't happen tomorrow.
It will be coming back. I think it's interesting that you said, like, oh, unless you've been affected, but it's like, we have all been affected. I get so mad about, how things have played out, regardless of we have to look at some facts, right?
Yes.
We weren't given all of the information, and people were told to doubt, and people were given the wrong information. It was not a difference of opinion. It was the wrong information and Absolutely. Went with it. But then I think what we're seeing a lot now, and this kind of stems into it, are these non-believers of truth, or they're just making things up.
That's inaccurate.
I didn't realize that people were like, I guess now you can find an audience for everything anywhere.
You sure can. Absolutely. For whatever theory that you have that's inaccurate, you absolutely can.
It's frightening.
Yeah, it really is. But okay, so I think for me, first of all, it's the excitement of Roz. I'm excited about
for
this.
her. She's got a lot to do. Yes, very excited about that though.
And what a huge step. And again, I think it's just one more step in that representation. But I also would say it's let's keep this train going, and let's see more, more women of color in leadership, more just people that I'm going to actually pause when I say that. The thing about Roz that I actually love is, if you look at her pedigree, like look at what she's done, you're also like, well, of course she got this role. Like, yes. She's amazing. And so it's also like, I am cautious on, like, I don't want to overemphasize the fact that she's a woman of color, because it's also like, no, she's just amazing and she should have gotten this role, and that's at the end. Yep. And so there's also that piece where it's that I want to acknowledge that this is very much a huge step from a representation, but it's also can we just give people that actually are qualified and that are awesome the job versus the dude that's your buddy?
Yeah. Can we do that? I'll do it.
Is that possible, folks? Can we all get on the same page about that?
I think I can. We can start it. We'll start the movement.
Okay, perfect. What is one thing from this conversation you want to share with folks? What's your one takeaway that we want to make sure everybody got?
I want people to recognize, and we'll follow the Roz story. What I'm worried about is whatever she adopted. Like, when you see the work that she's done, whatever happens, she's going to be judged on this. And this is an organization that she did not create, that she's going to be working on from this step. And I think it's important that we look at people and try to support those people as they're going through it. I don't know. We'll start sending cookies and notes saying you're doing a fine job, because regardless, she's going to this is a hard job for her to walk into. And I think so many people volunteer as tribute in these situations to take the brunt of it, to try to make a change because of being told you can't, and then proving that you can. So, good on her. I just think But I think it's important for everyone to recognize that in their own situations, that people are put in bad situations. Don't blame them for a culture they didn't create, that they're trying to fix, and understand that give people opportunities and time and grace when change is needed.
Yes. And, I mean, this is where you're going right now just is like a whole nother conversation, because I think this goes into this whole thing of how many times is it the Hail Mary pass that we ask people to step into roles, give them no actual like opportunity to change I'm going to mix metaphors here, like change the tide, change all of the things. And then it's like, oh, well, they failed. So now, oh, yep, can't do it. Woman can't do it. Woman of color can't do it.
Yep.
And then it goes back to the way it was. And so I think there's also, I love the idea of like giving her grace, but also knowing that like for any leader, it takes a minute. And I don't even know I don't know the culture or how Walgreens is doing. So maybe they're fine and she's taking over a well-oiled machine. I don't know, but it is like, yes, she will want to make change, and yes, she will want to do things differently. And that's okay. And that's good. And we need this difference in this different perspective to make organizations even better. So thank you, Jackye.
No, thank you, Katee.
I don't know if I mentioned, but your lipstick is on point today. It's very pretty.
You like this red lip? It's like,
I do. I'm
kind of looking at it.
You're not messing around, and I like it. I like it a lot. So for those of you who are only listening, Jackye's lipstick is really amazing. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, hop on YouTube, give it a go.
Hop on YouTube, give it a look. All right. So thank you all so much for listening. We would love for you to leave a review. We would love for you to follow us on Instagram. Instagram is the Inclusive AF Podcast. Follow both Jackye and I on Twitter and Instagram. We're around. We're trying to keep up with all of the social media and keep ahead of all of these different things. If there's a topic you want us to cover, let one of us know. Shoot us a note, shoot us a LinkedIn note, in message, whatever it might be. We want to cover topics that are of interest to folks, and we will be doing that as much as we can, and inviting on guests that can also help us with that. So thanks so much for listening.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.